There it is, a live look at downtown Toronto, Yonge Dundas Square, right outside our studios. Good Friday morning. Welcome to Breakfast Television. The time now 7:20. Frank Ferragini, Tammie Sutherland, Nicole Servinas, Stephanie Henry, Devo Brown here with you. Good morning, everybody.
Morning. I feel guilty dancing to that song.
I know, because when you hear it, what do you think of now?
The Apprentice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the theme song.
And former President Donald Trump, first president, former or sitting, to ever be indicted. All right, here's what's going on. Reports saying that he'll face over 30 counts related to business fraud. This all stemming, Tammie, from that hush money deal with former adult star Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, that was back in 2016. He apparently paid her about $130,000 to stay silent about an affair that they had in 2006.
Yeah.
And then it was shortly after he was elected that this all came about, and it surfaced that he apparently paid her, and so this is what this is all coming from.
Frankie, are you surprised by this?
I'm not surprised. So I was reading an opinion piece this morning in the Washington Post, and they said out of all the allegations and things that have happened with Trump, this is probably one that they're going to try him on as a trial for the others.
Right.
Which becomes at a great risk, because if this is actually thrown out, then he can say the witch hunt is on all the others. So I'm not surprised. However, nothing shocks me anymore.
Right. So here are some of the other stuff that we're talking about here, investigated for. No charges on these. Let's make that clear. So out of Georgia for allegedly interfering with the 2020 election results. Washington, D.C. for keeping classified documents. Also out of Washington for his role in the January 6th attack on Capitol Hill there. So these are some of the other things that could eventually get him charges, but none so far, Steph.
You know, Steph and myself, but what were we surprised about when we read
Yeah,
today?
we were absolutely shocked, because I was doing all of my reading. I'm like, okay, what do I need to know? That he can still run for president.
Even if convicted.
Even if convicted.
Yes.
Even if convicted. That is insanity to me. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of being in this Trump delusion.
Right.
The electoral system doesn't work when he doesn't win and he can't pay his hush money. And the justice system apparently is all flawed when he can't win and pay people off. So to me, it's just like, okay, so if you don't win, that means the whole system is flawed, and he just wants to rip it to shreds. And then he calls on all of the followers, protest, rally behind me. It's just, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I wasn't very surprised about this, but I'm just going to wait and see, because it seems like this happens and then he gets away with whatever. So
there's a lot of concern as well. I was reading that the New York Police Department right now has all been put on high alert because of the concerns with his base, the Trump base that's out there. And even with many of the Republican nominees right now, they almost have to support Trump in a way because they don't want to push away some of that base from maybe drawing them over for them wanting to win, being the top of the Republican Party.
And that seems to be why Mike Pence has kind of gone back and forth on his, initially at the time he was saying, it's awful. Totally different story.
Nicole, I'm watching this, and, over the last month or so, I was like, excuse me, Mike Pence, like, look at him coming around. He's coming around. He's taking out the blinders, and he's going, okay, wow, this is what this guy did to me, leaving me high and dry. And then last night, he backtracks on everything, and I was like, what are you doing? Why are you being a coward all of a sudden? And I'm like, oh, because you're scared of the Republican Party. You still want to have some clout in there and that base, but it's just.
And it's sad to say he's still going to have that base. And that's what's scary, I think, personally, to watch this happen, because he's convinced everyone, this is going to happen, but it's going to be a political charge. It's not going to have anything to do with it. And you need to stand by me, and we need to rally together with the Republican Party. And so it doesn't surprise me, but it scares me to know that people will still follow him and support him in his run, because he's going to pretend like nothing's going to happen. He's going to use this.
Popularity.
Exactly. I'm waiting for the photos of him. So there was also, I was watching CNBC yesterday, and they were saying of whether he was going to be cuffed or not when he was officially walked out. And it was a discussion of whether, it's not required. He probably would people would probably lean on the side of him not wanting to, but I wouldn't put it past him to say, cuff me because I want the photo.
Yep.
It wouldn't shock me to see him want to be cuffed.
Everything turns into a circus with
Yes.
him,
Right.
right? Like, we want to tell you a serious news story with this, but you can't because it's Donald Trump. And he will literally look at you and go, it's fake news. That's all he has to say to his followers, and they're going to.
He's a master
Agreed.
of manipulation of trying to turn the story and curate it in his best way. And then also he's always pushing in almost where he's almost whitewashing people with saying fake news. That's just fake. And this is just fake. And just always dismissive. And I always like how he repeats things twice or three times.
So
Gets
people
it in
hear
there.
it over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were having a discussion earlier this morning about the fact that a lot of times Trump will bring up just Christian values. And this is about an affair with an adult film star. And hush money payments there. There are multiple other accusations that don't follow those,
Values.
Christian values. But here we are
As a defense, he
talking
could be.
about it.
I was reading. As a defense, he could. There was a previous case where the defense was that the hush money was put out there so that his wife wouldn't find out. Not in terms of political and or business or anything like that. It was more of a personal level that he wanted to be quiet for his own
That's
relationship.
still
Just
wrong,
days before
though.
the election.
That makes it better.
No, but I'm just saying that the argument
I know.
will, could
Yeah,
or
but
will
the argument
be.
is, man,
Yes.
I was trying to bury the body so so no one, because
So no one would
personally I
know.
didn't want them to
But
know.
this is a, there was
You're still
another,
burying
I think
the
it was
body.
a senator or another politician in the U.S. that used that as an argument and won.
Well, that's the problem. It's
Yeah.
a huge problem if that's how you win. Because I didn't want my wife to know? Get out of here with this, man. All right, we're going to see. He could be cuffed this weekend potentially, or into Tuesday is the main
report,
day.
yeah.
And what's that mugshot going to look like?
Yeah, we'll see.
Is he gonna give that little smug look, or is he gonna take this seriously?
Gonna have a fresh spray tan
seriously.
for it, I bet you anything.
There you go.
And there's gonna be a press conference, I'm sure, by him at some point this weekend.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
This is not